Hey, what's up, everybody? Looks like Bitcoin is stalling out here. As we were talking about yesterday, this is, we got to the retracement levels, but most likely, there's going to be another wave to the downside or even some consolidation or, reaccumulation in here. So, for example, when we go to the 4 hour chart, right, we have very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. And then we have a 3 wave pullback, and now we're going down, and we're sort of resting right at this little back test area. So it's very challenging to know exactly what happens in retracement levels without understanding the wave structure. And so far the wave structure is only a 3 wave move, which is a corrective move, right? And by the way, when you look at the daily candle here, you can see, look at that wick right there. That's a rejection. So we came up, bam, we rejected, and now we came up again, we rejected. So you can see the wicks are longer on the top than they are on the bottom, which is showing more resistance than support. So, but that's normal, right? Because anytime you have a dump and a 3 wave pullback, it's part of a correction, which is what? A 3 wave correction, right? Some type of ABC or WXY, right? And where would this correction go? Well, if you kind of draw a trend line here, you can kind of get a sense of where it could potentially land, right? And if you look at this channel, you can see we got rejected perfectly right at the mean. So the middle part of this is more, important than the outer part, really, because that kind of tells you, if we're above the middle line or below the middle line, right? That's kind of where we're going. Basically, it says, if we're below the middle line, we're more likely to go down here. If we're above it, we're more likely to go to the top. So anyways, another thing as well is when we look at the retracement levels, and we go back up here, we really only made it down to the 382. So we haven't even had a 50% correction yet, right? So if we can get back down to 59K, that could be a decent area. Even 57K, but I really would not want to see it go below that 56, even 57. I really would like it to stay in the golden zone between 57 and 59. That would still be, you'd still have that bullish posture about it. So essentially, you can look at this as an ABC right back down to here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, what would be the entire count? Well, this could be a 1 with a 2, and this is a 1, and then we get a 2. I mean, that's kind of on the face of it. Unless we take this low out, right, then we're looking at it as what? A 3-wave move down to finish up the WXY. Meaning we have W, right? And then we come up in this 3-wave move. There's your X, and then we come down 1, 2, 3 for Y. So W, X, Y. This is your 3-wave shape, right? And that could mark the low for the 4th wave, which means there's going to be some selling pressure if that's the case, right? But is that my main idea right now? No. Why? Because we're still hanging out above 60K, right? As long as we're above 57K, I'm looking at it as, right, 3 down, 3 up, and this was 5 down. So you could say A, B, C. There's your 3-wave move, right? Or you could even say that you have three, and this is 1, 2, 3, right? And it's a flat, so we didn't take the low. So you have 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, right? W, X, Y. And this is your first wave to the upside. So this could be a wave 1, and then we pull back. We could flag out in here, and then go up into our wave, our wave 2, and then we go up in our wave 3. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it right now. So, but if we start breaking below this range in here, or this zone in here, then it's going to open the door for that fourth wave correction, right? The WXY. And if we have the W, X, and Y, and then we start going back up, and then we get rejected here, and then we start going down, and then we break this low, then it's reaccumulation. That's just what's most likely going to happen. But we're still a ways away from that. So, so everybody's still just like biting their fingernails, like, what's it gonna do? What's gonna happen here, right? We're consolidating, but what does it have going for it? The shape. And what is the shape? It's this downward sloping channel. It's otherwise known as a flag, right? You got that flag type of shape, right? And then when you put that flag type of shape, it gets you to about almost 100K, right? If you just took this wave here. So I think I always say, like, well, if I was a market maker, what would I do? How would I screw everybody over? Because that's what their job is to take money from the market. How do I do that? Well, if I was a market maker, what I would do is I would have an ABC, okay? And then what I would do is I would pop the high, get everybody bullish, right? And then take it down. And then that's my 3-wave move down. And then once we're down here, everybody's bearish, it's over, it's game over. And then what I would do, and then I would take it up to 100K. And then people would get screwed, like, because right here, we're going down. This wave right here, A, B, C, we're starting to go down. Okay, we're bearish because we're below 57K. Pop the high, get you to about 70K. Everybody's extremely bullish. Then bam, take it right back down to that 40K, 45K area. And then take it up to about, 90, 100K. And there's no pullback. So there's little pullbacks, but people can't get in, so they're chasing it. And then you get up here, right? And then they think, oh, the bull runs back, right? But in reality, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So when you zoom out, you have 1, 2, 3, WXY for 4, and then you had 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get up to about 100, 120, maybe 100K or so. Really, it's between 84 and 120. That's my target for Bitcoin. It's hard to know, and you say, that's a big range. Well, yeah, because we don't have the wave structure yet. Once we start impulsing, we can then measure it out and we'll get more accurate targets. Right? So then the fifth wave is there. Then what happens? Bitcoin goes back down, right? People are buying the dip, but smart money is rotating their Bitcoin into the altcoins, right? Which altcoins are where? Let me put the 3-day chart on, and then let me put Theta on here, right? Altcoins are where? And let me put this, actually take everything off the screen, and then let me go to regular scale so it matches up nicely, right? So you could see Theta, or I'm sorry, Bitcoin, right? So we have the ABC, and then we hit the high, and then we came down, right? And then we popped the high up to 100K in 5 waves, right? Then we start consolidating. What happens to Theta and the rest of the cryptos? They start going insane. They start going very parabolic. Hopefully that would be the case. And I'm just saying, like, if I was a market maker, this is how I would play it. And then what I would do, and then I would pull it back, right? And then pop the high, and then there's your bear market right there, right? And then as the Bitcoin's going down, people sell their alts, but a lot of the profits, the smart money sold off in Bitcoin, are going into altcoins. So they sell their alts thinking, okay, Bitcoin's done, right? But the alts just go insane. So it kind of, that's their job, right? Their job is to take money from the market. And the only way they do that is by tricking people, right? Making them think one thing and then doing the other thing. So a good way to measure that is sentiment. And I think the sentiment is a little bit split. I mean, you still have a lot of bullish people out there, and there always will be bullish. You're never going to change their mind, right? I mean, we can dump 30% and they'll still be bullish, right? Because it's macro. When they're macro bulls, and they're always going to be bullish, and that's fine. But you have the bears who are convinced that this is the top and we're going to go down. Partly probably because they sold and they need to buy back in cheaper. So they're rooting for the price to go down. So, but what does the majority think? Well, that's a little bit of a challenging situation. I mean, you can read the sentiment on Twitter, and I think there's no laser eyes and diamond hands right now. So people are still a little bit, on edge, and as they should be, right? Why? Well, simply because you have this impulse to the downside and you have this three-way pullback. So this thing can start to roll down, right? It could. We have this three-way move here, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This could be 1, 2, 3. This is a very real possibility, right? But if we get that, and then all of a sudden we had a 5-wave impulse off of that, like that, that's going to be very bullish. It gets us back to the top here, right? And then what happens? And then you start flagging out on here a little bit, right? And then what do you see? You see a shoulder, you see a head, and guess what? Then you get another shoulder. And then you break out, back test probably 1, 2, and then you get that mega third, fourth, and fifth. That hopefully gets you past 100K. So that's kind of my main idea if we break the low, right? If we break below 54, 55K again, that would be the main idea. And it looks really good. I really like it a lot. It makes sense to me. It makes sense very much, right? Because you have this three-wave move down. Every wave has 3 waves, right? And then what's also kind of cool is you kind of have the shoulder here. And if we came down, that would make sense. Normally people can't eyeball a head and shoulders unless you have the shoulder and the head. But to just have nothing but a left shoulder here, that's looking pretty far out. I'm not saying that's going to happen. This is not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong on this count. Right? But that's the count that I have if we break the low. Now, if we don't break the low, then this is a completed 3-wave move, and this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And we're sort of consolidating in here, right? Get a little bit of a 3-way pullback and then start going up. I mean, that's a real possibility as well. You can kind of see, and here's a couple things I want to show you. This could be, I don't know if I should have it on log scale or regular scale. This could be sort of, you kind of have potentially, I mean, I don't like it, but you kind of have a little bit of a breakout here. So this downward resistance line, 0.1, 0.2, you break out, you back test, right? And then you kind of have a little bit of a Maybe like kind of like a falling wedge kind of style here. I mean, it's not really ideal. It kind of broke out too early. It doesn't connect these 2 points, but I mean, you know, it's something that you can look at as a bullish thing. This falling wedge, but there's a lot of problems with it. But that's one thing. Another thing too is you kind of got a little bit of a triangle here, if you will. Um, you know, higher high, higher low, and then you have a low, higher low. So high, higher high, or high, lower high. You see what I mean? So those are two little things that you can say, okay, you know, there's some bullishness to it. So how would both of those things become invalidated? Well, basically, if we broke below that 50, you know, 56, 55, 54K area, right? I mean, as long as we stay above this trend line here that I'm trying to draw right there, I mean, that's kind of where I'm thinking. And that would be a decent spot to see this A, B, C play out. And then, yeah, and then we'll go from there. Now, what else could it be? Is there any scenario where we don't have to break below 59K? Well, if we go into reaccumulation, so if I go to the 1 hour chart, this could turn into a diagonal here where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. If we can do that, then it's going to be less likely we break the low, contingent on if we get an A, B, C pullback. So we have wave 1, and then we have a wave 2 pullback, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, done. And then we can get going again, right? That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is if we basically kind of range bound a little while in here, meaning reaccumulation. We're just kind of oscillating, hitting the low, hitting the high, but then eventually just breaking out, right? So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout, something like that. But what's the most probable? Well, if we can hold support here, because I kind of like, let me zoom in a little bit more. I kind of like this as a potential flat. I mean, so check it out. We have, so far, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could say A, and then we have B, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's C, right? Or you could say 1, 2, right? And then probably another 1, another 2. Or if it's a diag, 3 and 4. So, yeah. And then, but what I was going to say is what I like is right here, this 5-wave move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have an A, a B, and then we have 1, 2. This looks like 3. This looks like a flat for 4. And then we're getting a diag for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. Okay? And that would be A, B, C. That would be a flat. But we have to hold support in here. So as long as we hold that 61.7, 60K area, right? Or really this this support area right in here. What is that? 61.7. I mean, we can even wick below a little bit. I mean, that would be an interesting spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't want to break below, though. I think that invalidates the diag. It's okay if they overlap, but I don't know if I have to check on that. So that's really what I got for us today. As far as the altcoins go, oh, look at that. XRP had a little bit of a pop there, and then quickly came right back down. Story of XRP's life, right? Pop it and drop it. But no, I don't think it's finished. I don't think it's finished yet. That's the problem. So with XRP, I could look at this as a diag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have an A, B, C, right? So I have a wave 1, I have a wave 2, and you can kind of see a little bit of like an inverse head and shoulders here on the smaller time frames. You broke out, and now we're back testing. Maybe it's a 1, 2, another 1, 2, and then we can get going. I mean, that's an idea, right? It's not my favorite idea, but it's an idea. It will be my favorite idea if we can get through these retracement levels, right? So again, put the retracement on from here to here. Look where we went to. We went right to the 618. So as long as we stay below that, we got to be thinking more down. So what's the ultimate idea here? Well, if this is a wave 4, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We could get 5, and that would actually be a really good thing. Why? Because number one, it would let me get in the market right now, because I don't really have any. I'm kind of neutral on the market right now. I'm kind of on the sidelines for as far as trading goes. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with my hodl position, my long-term perspective. I'm still very bullish. But as far as trade setups, I really would like to see a fifth wave to the downside. Now, if we don't get it, that's fine. But what I want to see is starting to break that high a little bit, and I can get more comfortable with this being a bigger one, or A, B, C, some kind of bigger three-wave move. Because right now it looks a little bit small, and I don't think it's finished, right? Either this is going to be 3 waves to the upside, or we're going to go down for that 5th wave. I would prefer it to go down to the 5th wave. That way we have a clear, we would have bullish divergence. Like if I go to the 4-hour chart and then I click the okay, yeah, look at that. It's primed for bullish divergence, right? So let me just do that right there. And you can see RSI is right where it should be. So if we start coming down, right, and we take the low, we have a lower low, but the RSI has a low, higher low. I mean, that's kind of what we want to see, right? And it would just be a better entry as opposed to this being a 3-way move. Because if we get a 3-way move, then what? Well, then we probably have to have 3 back down, and then we would have to build a bigger base, and then maybe we can get 5 up from there, right? So that's kind of where we're at with XRP. Now, the problem with breaking down to the 5th wave is you don't really have much room, as opposed to, for example, this low here, right? So I really would like to see this wick right here at 50 cents hold, because then that means the 1, 2 can be in play. But I don't like this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I would rather see it as 1, 2, right? And then this is 1, and then we have 3 down, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. This is an A, B, C, right? So that's how I would like to see it. 5 up, right? And then, so wave 1, wave 2, and then we have wave 1, and then A, B, C, wave 2. Which means it would most likely break that low, get everybody bearish, but in reality, what is it doing? You could see that 3-wave move right clear as day. So, because the way I was doing it before was 3 down, and then this was 3 up, and then this was 3 down. That was a WXY running flat, and then we had a 5-wave move. But where's our 3-wave pullback? We didn't get it. We slammed back down, right? Obviously, the SEC appeal and all that stuff, the narratives around that. So that means that count's invalid. So, but it's really not invalid, because it's just a difference. There's a difference. So instead of it being 3 up, we have 1, 2, 3, right? So this, wait, yeah, 3 down. So there's two things that can be going on here. Is it a flat, which is 3 down, 3 up, 5 down? So A, B, C, right? Or is it a 1, 2, 1, A, B, C, 2? But either way, I think we should be bottoming right in this area, around that 47.51 cent area. So correlated with that, there's definitely some volume right in there. So that's what I'm looking at for XRP. As far as Theta goes, same kind of thing with Bitcoin, but I like the wave structure better on the way up. 1, 2, it looks more clear. 3, 4, 5, right? We have 5 down. So here's what we don't know. So here's the big thing, and this is very important right here. Ready? So is this going to be an A, B, C? I don't think so. Not on Theta. Theta to me looks like it's going to do this. Ready? You ready? A, B, C. It's going to give us a bigger three-wave move. And then we might go down before going up. So A, B, C, like that. You see what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. We still have more upside to go before we get that C leg, because there's a fractal out there that actually supports that, which is this one right here. So this is a screenshot from BCB, but you can see how this is XRP back in the day. We sort of, we slammed down, we made a low, we had 3 up, and then we came down, and then we had 3 down, right? So if we compare that to, for example, what is that, total 3 or others, and the same thing with Theta, right? So Theta's like right here. So let's say we continue to pump to the upside, and then we get that A, B, C, right? So to translate that, it would be something like that, like what's on the screen. Actually, let me do this. Boom. We get a 3-wave move up, and then we start kind of having that C leg, hold support in here, and then we start rounding up. And that gives us more of a Wyckoff look too, right? That Wyckoff look to it, where we build that base. So I think we're doing very well. It's just taking time. Bottoming process is consolidation, right? Because on the face of it, what do we have? Right? What do we have? We have point A and point B. So we still need point C, right? If we had a completed crashing structure, and you can say, well, it's completed, it's not. But even so, we still need a retracement. And you can argue that this is a 3-wave move and that's all we're going to get before more down. But even if that's the case, I'm still looking for a retracement, right? So let's not get it twisted here. I really believe that this is a bottom. This could be Wyckoff. This could be, a couple different things, different ways you can count it. But all in all, I'm looking for this to finish probably in the next month or so, and then continue to the upside and get that retracement. And then once we get to the retracement, that's when things become much more difficult. If we think it's difficult now, you have no idea how difficult it's going to be when we get up here. Because now it's like really like, okay, now what's going to happen? Are we going to break out? Are we going to go down into reaccumulation, then break out? Are we going to have to come down and have a big ABC? I mean, this is the most important time to pay attention as we go in this retracement, because that's going to determine if we can break the high. So it's going to be really interesting. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Try to keep it a little bit shorter today. There's a couple of them that, I want to look at a little bit later, like XRP versus Ethereum. I'm looking at this as an expanded flat. We'll touch on that later, but that'll do it for this video. And if you can hit that like, I really appreciate it. Drop a comment, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.